IGN gets roasted once again. We have some new games that are going to be coming out to talk about. You meet our friend Vasco from Starfield, and we have some more sales news. All right, so starting off here with this tweet here from Christopher Dring. Yes, it's another sales thing, and we're going to continue to talk about it probably again this week or next once the MPD sales come out, but it has to do with sales in March in the UK, and here is what he says. March looks like it's been another tough month for console stock in the UK, particularly on PS5. Although it's better than February, Xbox Series S and X had the best month in March, primarily due to the arrival of more X consoles. All three platforms are down year to date. And then this person here asks, does this mean the order is Xbox Series XS, Switch, then PS5? And he responds, that is right. So it looks like the Xbox Series X and S is going to be the best selling console in the UK in March. Now, like I said, we're going to have to wait and see what the MPD results are for the United States. And I'm assuming it's going to be along the same lines where the Xbox Series X and S at least is going to have sold more than the PlayStation 5. And this has been kind of a running theme here for the last couple of months. And it'll be interesting to see if this continues on until April. Now, we know the big reason for this is because of the stock shortages, but obviously the Xbox Series X and S are desirable consoles. People want them. They have great services. They're great consoles. So people are buying them as soon as they come into stock. And it makes you wonder going forward if we're going to continue to see this longer than we think. We know PlayStation is still ramping up their production of the PS4. They're going to be making more PS4s to push out there for people to be able to buy them through 2022. I mean, Horizon Forbidden West was their biggest first-party game release so far this year, and they didn't even make enough consoles to try to get more people to buy that on PS5. So there's obviously big issues with their production line, with their supply chain, with the chip shortages. And this isn't new because this is something that I think Sony has talked about since the beginning of this generation. Actually got tagged in this tweet here where it says Sony reportedly is limiting PS5 launch window to 6 million units, but sources suggest COVID-19 has not affected the production of the next generation console. So they are holding back the amount of consoles that they do put out, and obviously it has something to do with their production line and the ability to be able to, I guess, meet all of the requirements needed to ship these consoles to the customer. And we'll see how long this lasts. And we know that they have reduced their estimates of how many they were going to sell. This article here back in February saying that Sony lowered its forecast for PS5 shipments for the fiscal year to 11.5 million units, down from 14.8 million units. As such, it dropped its full year revenue estimates for its game and network services division by 170 million yen. So, I mean, this isn't something that is good. They don't want that to happen. But right now, they're kind of binded to how many units they can get out there. And if they can't be pushing them out, Xbox will be able to slowly but surely kind of close that gap in the overall units sold. And again, not that that really matters as much as just getting into the ecosystem for Xbox. They don't really care how you get in. If it's through the cloud on your phone, it doesn't matter to them, but it's just another gateway into their subscription service. We got a little bit more information here about Starfield. I think this is what we're going to see throughout this year until the big showcase, just little drops of information to kind of whet our appetite for what this game is going to be. And Bethesda released about a 1-minute video here showing off Vasco, who we previously saw in an older video, but all he did was show Vasco himself. It was actually in-game rendering and in-game graphics, which looked really good. But in this video here, they talk about Vasco. They talk about how he was made, what he was made for, where he was made, his armor, all that type of stuff, and that he is going to be a companion robot within Starfield, and that he is basically peaceful, but does have defensive capabilities should the need arise. So very cool. This is who you're probably going to see a lot of when Starfield releases. And I will link this in the description below if you want to just take a look at that video for yourself. We got some announcements and I guess reveals and leaks for some upcoming games. First one here being that Ubisoft is developing a new third-person IP called Pathfinder, and it's going to have a graphic style and a look and I guess an overall design similar to Hyperscape, which was a battle royale game that was actually pretty fun. I played a bit of it, but they're actually shutting it down. They say here, we have made the difficult decision to end the development of Hyperscape and shut down the game as of April 28th. We set out to create a vertical, close quarters, and fast-paced shooter experience, and we are extremely grateful to our community to join us on our journey. We will be taking key learnings from this game into future projects. I'm not a fan of battle royale games in general, but Hyperscape was a little bit different, so I had a a bit of fun with it. Not too much. I didn't go crazy in it, but I'm not surprised that it's shutting down. You really didn't hear or see anybody playing it after it came out initially. And it looks like they are kind of taking that design and they're moving it over to this new game called Pathfinder, which is seemingly a PvP VE game. So they say here Pathfinder appears to be slightly different take on Battle Royale, where a team of 4 players will drop into a map and find their path towards the center to fight the main AI boss. And going through, you're going to have to navigate through 2 walls, an outer wall and an inner wall, and there will be a series of gates that you're going to have to get around them that can be breachable. But the catch for this game is that the different gates are breachable or locked every single game. So every time you jump into Pathfinder, there's going to be a different path you will have to navigate to get to this center AI boss, which could make things interesting, especially if you are being shot at by other players with the PvP aspect of this game. Now, the players will be called heroes, and they'll all have unique abilities, and abilities can be determined as the game is in early development. But we don't know what these abilities are. We don't know pretty much anything about this game because it's still in early development. It's also going to have a central hub similar to the Destiny Tower. So that's a new game that's in development early from Ubisoft, another Battle Royale game. It seems like they're really going down this line, trying to get everything into the games as a service aspect from their games that are coming out, like even the next Assassin's Creed game, the Assassin's Creed Infinity. They're looking at making it more of a games as a service. So I hope they still give us good content from that. I hope it's not completely just predicated on microtransactions and having to grind all the time to get better, especially with this single player stuff, but we'll wait and see on that one. Now, the next game that got announced officially was a new Tomb Raider game from Crystal Dynamics. And this one is extremely exciting because I found the previous 3 Tomb Raider games, the reboots, were some of my favorite games. They were incredible. Crystal Dynamics did an amazing job with those. Some of the best looking games that we got. And it looks like they are going to be continuing with the series, and this time in Unreal Engine 5. So this was announced during the State of Unreal 2022 showcase, where we saw the stuff about the Coalition and the Unreal Engine 5 that they're working on, which just looked incredible. And Dallas Dickinson, who is the franchise general manager, had this as a high quality cinematic action adventure experience, and they want to push the envelope of fidelity. I mean, that makes sense. They're going to be using Unreal Engine 5, and you're going to be able to push that envelope with that engine from what we've seen so far. But we haven't seen any gameplay, no images. They don't have any screenshots, no release window or title yet, but it is going to be a new Tomb Raider game from the studio that's already made great Tomb Raider games. So lots of faith that this game is going to be very good. And it's also interesting because we know Crystal Dynamics is working on Perfect Dark with the initiative. So they're having, I guess, another team, another group of employees who are going to be working on this. Well, a different team is going to be working with the initiative on Perfect Dark. All right, so I wasn't going to talk about this, but it's been pretty funny because a lot of people have been roasting this on Twitter, and it has to do with IGN. Now, first of all, I'm going to admit I use IGN. I use IGN in my videos, depending on like the articles. Sometimes they have great articles. Sometimes they don't have such great articles, such as the comparison of these subscription services where they forgot to put in the biggest differentiating factor between the services, which obviously is Xbox first-party day and date games, which you don't get with PlayStation Plus. You don't get with Nintendo Switch Online. So I'm not going to say that I don't read IGN. I think they have some great people there. Like, I like Ryan McCaffrey, I like Destin. Those guys are awesome. The Xbox people who I generally listen to mostly at IGN, I think do some great stuff. But this is a funny story here because this person here, Kat Bailey, who is the current IGN senior editor, and she tweets this out. IGN is looking for new freelancers to assist with the daily flow of stories in games, entertainment, tech, and science. $20 per base rate per story. Sliding scale for heavier reporting, DM with an introduction and portfolio for details. And then continues on here to kind of clarify that it's $20 for basic news aggregation, $50 for slightly more involved stories, examples, finding a fun community angle that's not sourced from another outlet, social media, stuff like that. And then $300 and up for in-depth multi-source reporting. And I mean, I think the big issue here, why people are so upset, is because it is IGN. They're a huge website. They get tons of traffic. They definitely can afford the more than $20 per base story. That $20 per base story is just going to net them pretty much garbage. I mean, they're not going to be getting the best information. And when your website that is so big, a lot of people just look to IGN. They do have a sort of stature that somebody like me obviously doesn't have, somebody who is on a YouTube doesn't have, somebody who's just a freelancer on their own website doesn't have. But a lot of people go to IGN because it's a name people generally can trust. And you look at their website here and you look at their Alexa ranking, and their traffic is going up, it's increasing. They're ranked 696th globally in terms of internet traffic engagement over the last 90 days. You look at their ranking on SimilarWeb, and they're ranked 10th in terms of video games in terms of traffic. And the websites above them, there's no other news website. I don't believe any of these ones here are a news website. Maybe Game 8 could be, but I mean, they're behind like Twitch and Roblox and Steam again. So they're, I think, pretty much one of the biggest, if not the biggest video game websites in the world. Could definitely afford more than the $20 per base story. And everybody has been just completely roasting them for this tweet, giving their experiences as to why they wouldn't write for these big websites, just kind of calling them out, saying, well, now, if it isn't a stupidly exploitative rate per story, that's less than $10 an hour for any well-researched article, probably even less than minimum wage, to be honest. You've got to be kidding me. Surely this is a typo and you meant $200 base rate, right? This person says, respectfully, Ms. Bailey, the pay isn't good. I sense that you're just the messenger, so you won't get any flame from me. Living in Cali, from what I heard from a few friends, is very expensive. This wage won't help the candidate make any sort of living whatsoever. And hey, with inflation, I hear it's very expensive to live in California. I mean, if you live in California, let me know in the comments below, but I don't think you're going to be living pretty much anywhere with $20 per base story. And it goes on and on and on with people just kind of roasting them for this entire debacle here of posting the $20 per base story. But they're going to get someone. They're going to get people that will do it for the recognition, for saying on their resume that they have written for IGN. That's it for me, guys. Let me know your thoughts on all of this stuff, the new games coming out, meeting Vasco, the sales, and the IGN $20 that they're offering for freelance writers. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here, you like what you saw, consider hitting that subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for your support, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.